up Springtrap's masks to reveal the William Afton head inside. However, there is a handful of body groups we actually have to toggle. So first of all, there is the jaw. So we switch the jaw to mask open jaw. And then we do also have to do the same thing with the outline. So now his jaw is open so we can actually see some of them purple guy teeth inside. Next up we have is the ears. So first of all, we do the outline and then the actual ears. So now the ears are tilted back. Oh my gosh, you look so gross. I'm bald. My ears, bro, they're sticking backwards. What happened to me? Let's go ahead and do his eyes. So mask open eyes. There we go. Springtrap, you doing all right? I think he's doing A-okay. See, I am a good surgeon. Don't worry, Mr. Springtrap. We're making you a brand new. Let's go ahead and do the head. So we have the outline of the head for the open mask and also the open mask in general. Oh my gosh, what happened to Springtrap? I always come back. What happened to me? And it also looks like for this open mask version of Springtrap, you do actually have to remove the brain or else it'll just be afloat in there. And then we do actually have the William Afton head inside that we also have to change for the open mask variation. There we go. Oh, the lights, it burns. Oh, gamers, whenever they go outside after a marathon of gaming, it burns. But there you go. Those are all the main features to Retro Springtrap. So I love that he has that option where you can either just have him look normally or you could have him with the mask wide open and we can actually see the William Afton head inside. Yeah, Mr. Afton, he's definitely seen some better days, but I think he's in quite the shock. So before we move on, we do actually have some more props for Retro Springtrap. So again, we do have the knife prop, the axe prop, but we do also have some cosmetic props. So first of all, we actually have Springtrap's mask as a separate prop, and we can go into its body groups, and we can also give it the same open mask effect if we wanted to, and we could also put William Afton's head inside of it as well. So if I actually make the head empty, there we go. Now we can kind of see the regular William Afton head inside of the mask. Please put me out of my misery already. We also have Retro Springtrap's bow tie as a separate prop, and it does also come with the single button. So I guess if you wanted to, you could also, you know, technically in the body groups, you can take off the button. But if you wanted to, you could actually remove the bow tie off of Retro Springtrap, since, you know, he's not supposed to have his bow tie in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, but you could just have it laying on the floor next to his rotten corpse on the floor. So his bow tie is basically just withered away and also fallen off onto the ground. And then finally, we have a Retro Springtrap's eyes as its own separate little prop. This is something we had in the Retro Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pack, where you can customize the eyes individually. So here we can actually go through all of the different Springtrap eye options, and we can also change the skin for the glow effect. But that's basically everything to Retro Springtrap. So next up we have is Retro Springtrap. Well, Retro Dark Springtrap. So in case you don't know who Dark Springtrap is, in Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, whenever you beat a custom night, you get the secret cutscene after the Fazbear's Fright Fire, where we actually see Springtrap appear in the dark, hence the name Dark Springtrap. So this is basically Springtrap right after the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 Fire, and the main difference between Dark Springtrap and regular Springtrap is that he is missing his pelvis piece, and also, you know, he has the dark colors to him. Also, unlike Retro Springtrap, Retro Dark Springtrap doesn't spawn in with his bow tie, but you can actually give it back to him in the body groups over here. So going on down, we can go ahead and re-equip the bow tie, but instead of it being purple, it is now black. We can also give him his missing pelvis piece back. So we have the pelvis outline and then the outline of the pelvis. That's a little curse, but just use the first toggle. We have some missing wires, so these are the wires on his ears. But anyways, the rest of his body groups are basically the same as a regular Retro Springtrap. And yes, you can also open up his mask just like Retro Springtrap. We can give him his knife, we can give him his axe, Let's see here. Do we want to, yeah, you know what? Let's actually go ahead and open up his mask. So we got to get rid of that beautiful red brain. And again, in his guts, instead of them being purple, they are actually red now, kind of like how they were in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. So open that up. Let's go ahead and do the eyes. Let's see, what else are we missing? We're missing William Afton's head, and then we also have the open jaw as well. Why? I got spring locked, I got burned, and I'm still here. Why? And the cool thing with Dark Springtrap is that he actually has some custom Phantom Springtrap skins to him. So if we switch him from skin 0 to skin 1, that is basically for his eye glow effect. So by default, the eyes will glow in the dark. Skin 1 disables the eye glow effect. We have a skin 2 where he actually has these phantom textures. Again, skin 2 is for the eye glow effect. Skin 3 removes the eye glow effect. And then we actually have a skin 4 where basically it takes those same textures, but it makes his whole body glow in the dark. Oh, that is so creepy, but so cool at the same time. And then we have a skin 5, which this is actually a inverted phantom jump scare. So you know in FNAF 3, whenever you get jump scared by a phantom, right as you get jump scared, the phantom jump scare becomes inverted as it fades away. So it's like a white version of the phantoms. So we actually have inverted skins for all of the retro characters in the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 pack. So this is the inverted jump scare of Springtrap, and then we have a altered version of this inverted jump scare where the suit is blue and then the corpse inside is actually green. And then skin 6 and skin 8 are basically the same textures but without the glow in the dark effect. So these skins actually look insanely cursed, so I easily prefer the glow in the dark variation. So that is so creepy to see just in the dark in this room. But there you guys go. That is pretty much everything to Dark Springtrap. And again, I think that is insanely cool that he does also have these phantom textures to him. Now, before we move on to the phantom animatronics, we actually have this one character right here that we need to go over first, which is a Corner Freddy. In case you guys don't know who Corner Freddy is, basically it's just Shadow Freddy in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. And this guy is basically the exact same as Shadow Freddy from the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pack. However, it's mainly his textures that are different. So you can see when he is spawned in, his textures are insanely faded away to match with the lighting of the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 office. But his body groups are basically the exact same as the Shadow Freddy body groups from the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pack. So you can go ahead and customize him, remove his microphone, remove his hat, etc, etc. But the cool thing with him is the pupils. So by default, he won't actually have any pupils, but you can go ahead and toggle on it to lighten of the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 office. But his body groups are basically the exact same as the Shadow Freddy body groups from the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pack. So you can go ahead and customize him, remove his microphone, remove his hat, etc, etc. But the cool thing with him is the pupils. So by default, he won't actually have any pupils, but you can go ahead and toggle on the small pupils, and then we can toggle the swirly eyes, which again, this is something that Shadow Freddy had from the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 variation. However, the only difference is that Shadow Freddy here actually has these big eye glow effects, where this Shadow Freddy over here doesn't have them, unless you actually toggle the eyes right underneath the pupils. So again, Corner Freddy, when you spawn him in, he will not spawn in with his eyes, but when you spawn in Shadow Freddy, he does spawn in with his eyes. So you will just have to enable / disable that in the body group section. But we do also have some skins for this Corner Freddy. So this is skin 0. Skin 1 actually makes him lose that green, but we do also have some skins for this Corner Freddy. So this is skin 0. Skin 1 actually makes him lose that green glow effect to him, or I guess like that green light into him, so we can actually see that purple color come back. But obviously his purple is way more faded, where the purple color from Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is is way more saturated. We have skin 2, where he goes back into that green variation. And then we have, again, this skin right here, which I'm pretty sure these last two skins are just removing. Yeah, they just remove the glow effect for the eyes. So skin 0 and skin 1 have the eyes glow in the dark. Skin 2 and skin 3 remove the eye glow effect. So it's kind of nice. You can either have this green lighten version of Corner Freddy, or you remove the green lighten to actually see Shadow Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And that's basically everything to Corner Freddy. Again, it's basically just Shadow Freddy with some different textures. So now we can move on to the Phantom animatronics. Now with the Phantoms, there's at least 2 versions of each Phantom animatronic in this pack. So we actually have the official retro Phantom animatronics, and then we actually have some accurate Phantom animatronics, which are basically similar to how the Phantoms look in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, using the models from the retro Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pack. So up first we have is the original retro Phantom Freddy, and oh my gosh, look at this guy's jaw. His jaw goes all the way up to his eyes. Oh, this is so creepy. So the cool thing with the official retro designs is that the Phantoms are made to look like actual ghosts, or I guess spirits. So they do still have some animatronic designs to them, but they've kind of lost the vibes a good bit, because these guys are supposed to be more of like ghost and or, you know, spirits. So these guys actually have some ghost tails. Oh, look at that. Look at my little ghost tail. I like to put a little sock on it every now and then. But anyways, Phantom Freddy, he does still have his microphone. He has on his black bow tie. So his body is pretty basic, but he does actually have a bit of a hunchback to him. But the main cool thing with Phantom Freddy is his head. Again, he's got that creepy smile with his jaw reaching all the way up to his eyes. One of his eyes is actually raised and actually has some black tears coming out of it. And he also has a bit of a goo effect to him. So he's got some goo dripping from his ear and also his muzzle as well. But he does still have his beautiful top hat. So with Phantom Freddy's body groups, we can actually remove the glow effect from the pupils, and we can also just straight up get rid of the pupils. We have his outline, we have the outline for the microphone, and we can also remove the microphone. Same with the hat and also the bow tie. We also have some options for the right ear. So by default, it'll be like this droopy ear, but we can actually remove the droop effect, so that way he has a regular ear. And then we can also do the same thing with his head to remove the droop parts from his head. And then we also have his other ear, so we can actually give him his missing ear. So this is for the ear left. It says eardrop right and then it's eardrop left. This hurts my little brain, but it's his left ear. And then we can also toggle the outline. So if you wanted his other ear to have the droop effect, or if you just wanted it to be a regular ear, you could customize that right here in the body groups. We can remove his nose. That is cursed. Hey, who's got my nose? Let's see, we can actually switch his tail to some legs. So we have the outline legs. So these legs are pretty similar to the animatronic legs, but obviously they do not have the animatronic joints whatsoever, since there is no animatronic parts whatsoever on these retro Phantom animatronics. But if you don't like the ghost tail, you can actually give him his regular legs. And then we actually have some different things. So we could just do it like have him have one leg instead. So he actually has his missing Phantom Freddy leg, because in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, it's never fully confirmed that Phantom Freddy is missing his leg or not. A lot of people like to imagine Phantom Freddy doesn't have his leg, so you can customize this guy any way you want. So you can either have him have both legs, one leg, or just a ghost tail, and also vice versa. So we have no leg left. So you either have him missing his right leg, or you could have him missing the left leg. So I love that he has a bunch of different options to him. And then finally, for retro Phantom Freddy, we have missing his right leg, or you could have him missing the left leg. So I